Hey, y'all. It's episode 9, and I am so excited about this episode. This is the kickoff of the Rooted Reading series. So I'm just going to dive right in. The book that we're starting with is called The Awakened Woman, Remembering and Reigniting Our Sacred Dreams. It is written by Dr. Tererai Trent, and I started reading this book in March of 2018, and boy, did it light a fire in me. And so I'm so excited to share. And this book is about her story, but more importantly, it's about really reconnecting and encouraging us to connect with ourselves as it relates to our dreams and what our purpose is here and how that is so important, not only to ourselves, but to humanity as a collective. So I hope that you enjoy. There is going to be some offerings in the show notes, so you want to make sure that you do go to the show notes, not only in terms of providing me your feedback, which I'm going to absolutely welcome and would love to hear, but also some exercises that would follow in terms of these readings provided, some contemplative exercises to help you really, really flush out what she's talking about for yourself. So I hope that you take advantage of that. So let's get right to it. When I read Mules and Men, I was delighted. Here was this perfect book, the perfection of which I immediately tested on my relatives, who are such typical Black Americans. They are useful for every sort of political, cultural, or economic survey. Very regular people from the South, rapidly forgetting their Southern cultural inheritance in the suburbs and ghettos of Boston and New York. They sat around reading the book themselves, listening to me read the book, listening to each other read the book, and a kind of paradise was regained. For what Zora's book did was this: it gave them back all the stories they had forgotten or of which they had grown ashamed, told to us years ago by our parents and grandparents, not one of whom could not tell a story to make you weep or laugh, and showed how marvelous and indeed priceless they are. Greetings, kindred. Welcome to episode 8, and I am so excited to be with you, talking to you about something that has been resonating with me for quite some time. And I just felt like it was time to release it, to put it out there, to share it. And we'll see how it goes for this season. So I'm excited to be releasing or to be sharing with you what I call the Rooted Reading series. It is a creative expression of who I am, which combines two loves. One is the love for reading and the love for oral tradition, one of which I grew up with both. If you knew my father, you knew that he was an avid reader. His library was one to be reckoned with. And for my sisters and I, while there were different highlights when you were little, the highlight of our childhood, one of the biggest highlights was going to the library and getting a library card. And he introduced us to so many different books. And so for all of us, that sense of reading has been with us. Reading a book, and I still love the touch and feel of a book, although, it's quite efficient to have it on an iPad, but it was just something about having a book in hand, and he always carried a book. The other love that I have, and I think all of my family has, particularly my three sisters, and still growing up with this, is a sense of oral tradition. My father was a pastor. My grandfather was a pastor. And my great-grandfather was a pastor. So I come from a ministry-focused type of family. We still have many in the ministry. And so with that being said, I remember when my sisters and I would come to visit our grandparents and be in church with my grandfather and grandmother and aunts and uncles. On first Sunday, we will be reading the church covenant out loud. And so for any of you that grew up in the Black church, you know about the church covenant, the congregation. So before we took communion, we would all stand and read this covenant. And then not only that, which this is a tradition that continues, it is about the respect and the honor that you give to the scriptures. And so we grew up in a tradition whereby you would stand and read the scriptures out loud. Now, there is a historical context to that dates back to what we call the establishment of the Black church. And even before that, if you go over to Africa, the sense of that ritual, that type of rhythm that took place that we brought over here. And so with that being said, that was what we knew in terms of oral tradition. And that's not even counting the countless family stories that we were exposed to, my sisters and I, on both sides of the family, of hearing the stories and being around the dining room table or being in the living room and just gathering and hearing our elders talk about the various stories that make up the texture and the beauty of who we are as a family. And not as an individual family, but part of our family as part of the collective in terms of humanity. And so with that being said, I just wanted to share with you my love for books, along with the love for oral tradition, and really with the focus of the idea, particularly in today's time, focusing on what's right about us, focusing on that, and bringing us back to what that means. We have so many beautiful rituals and rhythms and traditions that, for some of us, we are well connected with, and it's interwoven throughout our lives. But for others of us, we've kind of lost connection with that. And I'll say that I did myself. But in this journey of reconnecting, if you will, reconnecting with myself, really sitting down and connecting and communing with myself, it was something about coming back to the love of reading and the love of oral tradition and the use of the healing nature of giving a word, if you will, of the voice. And so with that being said, today's episode opened with a reading from Alice Walker in her book entitled In Search of Our Mother's Gardens. And that captures everything that I'm hoping that the Rooted Reading series does. So in this season, we will explore different types of literature. We are starting with one particular book that really just resonated with me, and so I'm excited. So enjoy. I look forward to this journey with you, and definitely please share. And not only sharing with someone else, please feel free to share your comments and let me know what you think. Here we go. Thank you again for supporting and listening to the podcast. I am so pleased to announce that the podcast is now available on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, and YouTube. Consider leaving a rating or review. Also, please consider sharing the podcast with others that may like or benefit from the content being shared. Both would be appreciated and help in growing the podcast. Should you want to connect, email me at rootedblossoms@gmail.com or visit my website at www.rootedblossoms.com. This and more information about today's episode and Rooted Blossoms can be found in the show notes. This podcast could not happen without you, the listeners, as well as the work and support of Gwendolyn Wren, cover design, James Derrick, audio content editing, Donald Goines and Nicholas Graham, sound. Until we connect again, remember to make time for soulful communion and healing connection of breath, body, and spirit.